Go to the line in front.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah, kids in the front. Whoa!
Great.
Oh, almost. Oh! I thought that was it.
Max, I think you can do this. Okay, wait a minute, honey. Are you ready? Hunt straight. Rita! Almost.
There you go.
And they did. Come on, Charlotte, hit her.
High and dry.
You gonna go after your brother? Okay, you guys want to go see the tiger up there?
We'll tell her what we want.
I'm in the way. Sorry. Good try, yeah.
We want to watch some more? Sure. They don't go down very often. Go hard, Laura. Go hard. Wind it up, kiddo. Laura, get a little closer.
I dunked him on the first one.
That's pretty funny. Go, Laura. Throw your hardest, girlfriend. Go ahead. Good try, Laura. Hey, do like your dad was his birthday. Back in. Wait till Laura's out of the way. Come on, you want not at all. Oh, look out.
My second gets done.
Yeah, here's one more, honey.
Nice try. Come up
Come
close.
a
Come
little
up
closer.
close.
Wait till Mrs. Spinelli's out of the way. Good try. Ready? Here comes the strong girl. Where are you going to stand? Charlotte, where are you going? This line or this line? That line you go. Get two balls, okay? Oh, almost. Good try.
Okay, I like the draw.
Right here. Nice job.
Ryan, you're going enough.
Or, you know, I sometimes stick it in my shoe if I have no pockets. So put it in your sneaker, whatever. And if you want to carry a bag or whatever, put whatever you want in a bag. That's fine. Just keep the important stuff on your persons so that, you know, in case someone comes by and wants your pocketbook or your wallet or whatever, take it. Go ahead. Because you have your important stuff with you and on you. So that I do have to advocate for as well. I apologize for wearing the sunglasses, but the sun is right in my eyes. So that being said, when we think about seniors, or, you know, maybe we have parents that are getting older, or even brothers or sisters who are getting older, but you know, we can't keep them in the house forever. So they go out, whatever, if they're not with a buddy, or, you know, you always see on the news somebody broke into a person's home that was elderly, and you see them on TV and they have the bruises on their face or whatever, but the 95-year-old grandma fought back and the attacker left. So, you know, we say you do want to fight back if you can, because if you're out in public, it kind of scares away your attacker. So you want to use your voice if you can. Tell them to use their voice. Tell them to, you know, do what they can. Now, if they're walking with an aid, whether it be a walker or a cane or anything like that, you know they're not too sturdy on their feet. So for them to use what they have with them may not always be an option. Okay, so we always want to advocate going for anything eyes, throat, groin. I will tell you this, most attackers expect to be kicked in the groin. Okay, that's just how it is. So you want to surprise them if you can. And maybe they don't have the dexterity in their hands, but they can certainly use an elbow. Okay, maybe they may not think of that. You can certainly use an elbow or a fist. You know, fist is stronger than the fingers. But eyes, really important. Anything face, neck, below the belt. If you can hit, you want to hit with all of your force, all of your might, because you only get one turn. So. But if they are able to use their cane or their walker, it's important that they know how to strike. So if they don't have to be able to hit up to the face. They just need to go to a knee, okay? To the side of the knee, to the side of the knee, or to the back of the knee, okay? The front of the knee is okay, but we have that hard bone there, right? But if you're going to the side of the knee, you're gonna buckle the opponent, okay? Or if you're going to the back of the knee, you just need a few minutes to get away, okay? Just a few minutes to get away, get yourself to safety, or it allows some time for somebody to come help you. So that's something you definitely wanna keep in mind. So you have the end of the cane, right? And depending on what type of cane you have, we just have a wooden one. We keep at our dojo just for the heck of it. But a lot of us have the metal canes or the metal walkers. So you can use the end, right? That can go right to the eye. That can go right to the throat, right here. Okay, and I know you're like, oh, I don't know. You don't want to. If push came to shove, you would do what you needed to do to get away. So, you know, the bottom of the cane can go right into the eyeball. Gross, I know, but that's okay. That's what you need to do. And they can't be afraid, you can't be afraid to do that either. The hook on the bottom of the cane. Some of us have the canes that shoot straight out, or have the 4 on the bottom for extra safety or whatever. Use it. Use it for what you need to do with it. Pick it up and strike. You want to strike downward as opposed to across. Okay, they're gonna get more power coming down that way. You can hook to the neck, right, and hook them down. You can poke to the eyes. I always go to the eyes because if you've ever poked yourself in the eye, it hurts and you're kind of disoriented for a minute. Okay, if you disorient your attacker, that's good. That's what you want to do. Again, enough time to get away or enough time for somebody to come to help you. Using your voice, most important. Yell, scream. If you're out in public, the attacker doesn't want any unnecessary attention towards his or her way. So you want to bring all the attention you can. And use what you have. If you have a pen, you're writing out, maybe you're just coming from the bank and you're writing out a bank slip with a pen. Jab it in their eye, jab it in their throat. Use whatever you have on you. So a pen can be a weapon. Anything can be a weapon. Your shoe. I know a lot of our older folks have the thick bottom shoes. If they can get a shoe off and whack someone with it, that's great. That's something that they want to do. But I can't emphasize enough that you really do want to fight back. You do not want to be the victim. Nobody wants to be a victim, but you really do want to fight back, if at all possible, using whatever you have. at your disposal at the moment, whether it be a cane, walker, pen, your pocketbook. I know my grandmother used to travel with this big old purse, and you know, you could find everything in it. You start swinging that thing and somebody or something is going to get hurt. So if they have a large purse that they carry their whole life in, you know, they can swing that as well. You know, we don't want to see anybody on the news hurt or anything, but I do enjoy seeing the stories on the news of the older folks that have fought back and, you know, have either beat the crap out of the opponent or the attacker, or has, you know, certainly made a statement. So those are the stories I like to hear. Those are the stories that, you know, we're rooting for the elderly in that sense. And we're rooting for someone who, you know, isn't going to succumb to any type of attack or any type of abuse either. So you have to remember the abuse part of it as well. So again, I don't want to take up too much of their time because they do have other demonstrators, but if anyone has any other questions or if they want to ask me directly or if I can help them in any way, my table's right over there. You can reach me, or you can reach me at cerveses@aol.com anytime. Or give me a call. I'll be happy to spend 5, 10, 15, half hour. No charge, of course. I'd be happy to help anybody who needs help or would like to learn more. We'd be more than happy to do that. So thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Janice, and thank you, Cerveses, for this demonstration. I want to remind all of you that over at our CIT booth, there are free raffles and there are great prizes. Please make sure you visit all of our vendors. Everyone has some really neat giveaways. And if you haven't figured it out so far, we have wonderful hot dogs and hamburgers over there cooked by our own local police department. So our next presenter is actually from the Burbank YMCA in Reading. Her name is Amy Vent, and she's going to talk about aquatic safety. And this is important to not only seniors, but obviously all you parents out there with all these young kids running around. You may want to come closer and hear what Amy has to say. Thank you, Amy.
This is my husband, John.
All right, so I'm going to talk about a topic that we don't want to focus on a lot, but it's an important topic that if you have a pool or if you have children of any age, that it's really important for you to think about and to consider to make sure that our children are safe. One of the scariest statistics out there is the third leading cause of death among children under the age of 12 is accidental drowning. And it's normally in unguarded pools, such as our own backyards. And so much of that can be prevented if we take some simple, basic safety steps. I hate, but I listen to all of them, part of my job, all the news reports about all the incidents, either tragedies or with rescues. But again, so many of them can be prevented. So the first thing we need to think about is if you do have a pool, or if you're going anywhere that does have a backyard pool. Number one thing is making sure that pool is secure in such a way that children cannot access it. So whether it's gates, which are required, lockable, self-latching, so that they will close after you. If you have access, which you really don't want to do, but if you have access from the house to the pool, some type of alarm system or something like that. If those children get that door open, you need to know, because believe me, regardless of age, they can open anything. So you got to make sure that it's fully secured, or if it does get open, that you can hear it, that you're aware of it. Next thing we need to think about is making sure that wherever your pool is, that you have a phone out there so that if there is an emergency, that you can quickly call for help. But the real number one way to prevent these accidents is close supervision. I'm a huge reader. I love to read. I've got a Nook, thousands of books on it. I can become very immersed in my books. I know how much during the summer we want to sit out by the pool and relax, and the kids are playing, and we think we're watching them, but we're also maybe having a conversation with friends, or maybe reading, maybe even talking on the phone. And what we're not really doing is watching our children. The closer supervision should always be done. If your children are non-swimmers, you want to make sure, regardless of whether you've put them in some type of safe swimming attire, so whether you have some type of flotation device on them, you need to be in the water within arm's reach of them. So not just in the water or not just on the pool deck, you need to be in the water with them within arm's reach. Best way to prevent emergencies. The next thing to think about is, if you're going to water or have your own pool again, is what type of flotation device should I use for my child? So there are a lot of them out there, and some are really effective, and some are actually really dangerous. So we want to think about what we're putting our child in. Obviously, the safest thing we can put our child in is an appropriate lifeguard-approved life jacket. It's going to hold them up. It's going to support them effectively. The younger the child is, you want to make sure that it has a strap that goes underneath so that they're not going to slide out of that life jacket. So it needs to fit them appropriately. So be tight, secure. They're not going to fall out of it, but not so tight that it chokes them. So it's really important that you get an appropriate fitting life jacket if you're going to choose a life jacket. You could choose some type of instructional bubble flotation devices that go on their back. These are things, for example, like we use at the YMCA to teach swim lessons. It's not a safety tool, but for kids who have had swim lessons, who are continuing to learn to swim, it does allow them a little bit more freedom of motion than a life jacket would. Things you should not use. Anything inflatable. Because just about anything inflatable pops, leaks, etc. One of the most dangerous is the arm inflatables. Doesn't allow them freedom of motion. They can slide off very easily, especially if you're using sunscreen, which we should be. And again, they do pop. Second most dangerous, and I see these all the time, and I'm always telling parents they can't bring them into my pool. And those are the inner tubes that allow the children to sit in those inner tubes. Anything like that, whether it has a seat or not, they slide through it, it tips over, and now your child is trapped under the water and cannot flip themselves back over. Incredibly, incredibly dangerous. So we want to make sure that what we're using is an appropriate flotation device that's going to help keep our children safe. But just because they're in a flotation device doesn't mean, again, that I shouldn't be in the water with them within arm's reach. Very important. Next thing to consider, one of the best ways to help keep our children safe is help teach them how to swim. So I know I work for the Y, and obviously I want to sell swim lessons, but more than that, I would teach the world how to swim if I could. Because we live around water in so many different water environments, whether it's a backyard pool, whether it's my pool at the YMCA, whether it's a lake, whether it's the beach. Water is a reality in our lives, and we need to be prepared for those different water environments. So the more that we can learn to swim, our children and ourselves, the better prepared they can be. Again, God forbid they fall into the pool by accident or simply get away from you in the lake. The more they learn how to swim, the better prepared they will be for that situation. The better prepared they will be for how to breathe in the water environment. Part of what we teach at the YMCA with swim lessons isn't just how to swim, but we're teaching boating safety. We're teaching them what happens if their friend falls in the pool. How do they help each other safely without becoming a victim themselves? We teach them how to call for help. So this is a big part of our own curriculum in helping our children and our parents learn how to be safe around the water and how to help others in an emergency situation. The next thing I want to encourage every single person out there is consider taking a CPR course. So that again, if an emergency happens and you pull your child out of the water, or your neighbor's child, you know what to do while you're waiting for EMS to get there. Those minutes, and it only takes minutes, are the key minutes in helping that child survive without brain damage, etc. Again, I know serious topics, but the more that we can be prepared for emergencies, the better chance of survival that we have. So take a CPR course. If you're a YMCA member, they're free. So come on down. We offer them every month. You can find them all over the place. But I strongly encourage you, take a CPR course to be prepared for emergencies. The next thing I want to encourage you is when you do go to a beach, a lake, a pool, consider where you're going and consider what the safety elements are at the facility that you go to. Is it guarded? I strongly encourage you to only go to guarded facilities, whether, again, beach, pool, lakefront. Check out the lifeguards. Are they doing their job? So what does that look like? So when you go to a waterfront area, are the guards rescue ready? Do they have equipment with them? Are they watching and not just staring blankly out at the water? Are they scanning? Are they looking side to side? Are they aware of what's going on? Are they enforcing the safety rules? We don't always like those rules, but they're there for a purpose to help keep us safe. For a beach, how far are the lifeguards stationed away from each other? The closer together, the better the coverage. But again, just because you go to a guarded facility does not mean that you, as a parent or as an adult supervising children, have relinquished your responsibility. You still need to watch your own children. They should also be watching, but it's just as much our responsibility to be aware of what's going on with our children. Because drowning doesn't look like we see on TV. It's silent, it's effortless, and it's fast. It only takes seconds for anyone, adult, child, infant, to sink beneath the water. And we often don't recognize it for what it is. So watching our children, recognizing what's play, what's not play, that is so important. So again, a couple simple rules. Make sure your pool is secured. Make sure you have the proper equipment, safety equipment for your non-swimming children. Always, always, always watch your children. Take some training yourself. And again, teach your children how to swim. So hopefully I gave you a few tips. If you want some more, we've got them over at our table, and I'd be glad to talk to you about them. Thank you.
I was a little girl alone in my little world who dreamed of a little home for me. I played pretend between the trees and fed my house gas sparking leaves and laughed in my pretty bed of green. I had a dream that I could fly from a
That's your last meal.
So about 2 weeks go by and I get the call. They say, hey, bring your dog to his favorite boy in a 6-foot leash. They come out to the academy for training. I show up at the academy and they said, congratulations. And I said, oh, my dog must be trained. They said, you just completed the most important part of the training. And I was like, training? What I didn't realize was those first 2 weeks was a bonding period for which that animal learned that I was his food source, I was his source of clean water, I was his source of sleep, and I was his source of play. So that dog was very dependent upon me for everything. And it's like what dogs do in their real world. It's their pack mentality. Somebody's in charge, somebody cares for them, and they follow them. And I wanted the dog to and I said, he's down on his butt, sits down and he goes, because I had so much playtime, so much that all he wanted to do was give back. So it makes the training easier. So the more you give to your dog, the more your dog will give back. So once that part of the training was done, we started to learn obedience. And it's kind of like the first couple of weeks of playtime were like preschool and kindergarten. I got to play, the dog got snacks, we played, more snacks, we had a blast. Then came first grade. I wanted the dog to sit. wanted him to be quiet. His hands on the desk. He started like third, second, third, fourth grade with all the obedience. And the dog learns to do what you teach these dogs to do right. Now we refer to these dogs as canine leash because they're leash. That leash that they're connected to, it's almost like it's plugged into a wall appliance because you are plugged in with your dog. Your dog learns your affection up and down that leash. He learns when something's wrong on the other end of the leash. They get all of that positive, negative energy. And they learn when the positive energy is there that they're doing the right thing. When it gets to be a little negative coming down the line, they realize they're doing the wrong thing. So if they're running ahead of you, a little negative energy, they back up, they want to walk with you. So you'll see that their obedience is key to the rest of our training. Because an obedient dog is a dog that will sit and listen for you. A non-obedient dog is not going to learn the things we need them to learn. So after they get through this obedience stage, which I refer to as those elementary school years, we start to get into the middle school years, where we throw a little bit more at them. Now they start using their nose. We teach them to track. They track by using their nose, and all of their other senses start to kick in. Now when they track, a lot of times they start out just by tracking crushed vegetation. Like when somebody cuts the grass in your neighborhood or close by, you can smell that grass from almost a block away. When you're driving up 28, when it's lunchtime, you can smell Burger King and McDonald's from Park Street. Because your nose picks up on things. Same with the dog. But the dog, when you smell that fresh cut lawn that could be an acre, when the dog smells 1 foot pressed into the grass, it smells like that acre to you. And what they do is they learn to follow the fresh breaks in the grass because that's the freshest part, and they follow that. As they start to track, even if they go over pavement, when you rough the pavement up, that's a smell change for the dog. Because you leave a little bit of your soul and you kick up the turf and it makes it smell different from the rest of it. So the dog picks up on that. As the dog works through that change of odor, you sweat. In many cases, if you're lost, you're scared. If you're running from the police, you're scared. I don't care how big or tough you are, you're scared because you don't know who's going to find you. So as you go, now we all shed skin throughout our day. You start to sweat. Your sweat, your skin, and your odor. You breathe heavy. Everybody's breath smells, good or bad. As it smells, it leaves over there, it stays in the air, it collects on the ground, and the dog follows. So having an obedient dog is one that we learn will begin to track and follow those things. Now, if you folks have dogs, you can teach your dog to track very easily. You can have somebody in your household take the dog's favorite toy, walk out, disappear out of sight. Because once they lose a visual, the only thing they have left is their hearing and their nose. And in many cases, you're going to be quiet. So they have to revert to their nose. They'll put their nose down, and they'll begin to follow that because it's their natural ability. We take their natural abilities, we enhance them, and direct them into police work so that we can find things easier. Because their nose works some 1,000 times better than ours. So as a result, these working class dogs that you see, their nose is about 1,000 times better than ours. And in the case of your hounds, they become to be 2,000 times better than ours. It has to do with their olfactory rings in the hounds. They have more rings in the nose, and along with that, Their ears are big and floppy. They have oversized gums. They drool a lot. So when a bloodhound throws his nose on the ground, his ears also touch the ground. And he drools. As they begin to track, they begin to taste what they're tracking through their drool. Their ears act like little scoops, and they collect odor. They put it in front of the dog, and the dog continues to taste and smell, so that dog is working much better than the dogs with ears that are up, that don't drag on the ground, and they don't have the big jowls to drool. So we use their nose because it's some 2,000 times better. We use it for a lot of things. Tracking, as I just told you. We also use the scent work. Now the scent work could be many things, but it's geared towards things that are illegal. So we train our dogs to seek out illegal narcotics, weapons and munitions that are illegal to most or have been used in a crime. They're also trained in the fire marshal's office for accelerant detection, so that if there's a fire, they can take them to a location if some type of accelerant's been used to start that fire. And there are also EOD dogs which are referred to as bomb dogs. And you saw a lot of those dogs working frantically during the marathon. Those dogs are trained, and they're single-purpose trained dogs, because single-purpose dogs have about a 95 percentile find rate, whereas cross-trained dogs, it gets down to about 85%. Now you're going to see Canine Chavo here doing a special collar. He knows that when that collar is doing, that he's doing something different other than obedience. He can't track it. As you see, as he goes, you see his tail's wagging, his behavior changes, he's down in a down position, and that's his response, to sit or down stay and be excited about what's in the box. Some dogs are trained to be a little more aggressive in their find, so that they're putting their paw on things and they kind of scratch at it a little bit more, because sometimes you need to know where, if it's up under something. And as you can see, the reward for the dogs is all play. They want to play. Hang on. Anybody got a skateboard here? Take it for a ride.
I have a bike. I have a bike.
So when the dogs are trained for scent work, we don't give them narcotics to teach them to find narcotics. The dogs don't sit around smoking marijuana and then say, I want some marijuana doggy bones. Let's go find it. No, we trick them. We trick them simply by taking out 5 or 6 cinder blocks. We lay them out similar to this. We take one cinder block and we contaminate it with the odor we want to train them in. Whether it's black powder for munitions, whether it's marijuana, or some of the other illegal drugs that are out there, and we put it in one cinder block. We take the dog to the cinder block, and like all dogs, when you stir a dog's curiosity, the first thing they do is their ears go up, their nose wiggles, and they start looking around.
This is my scratch. Squeaky toy, give me a toy.
And as always, the reward is always playtime. But we trick the dog. We take a cinder block, contaminate it with the odor we want to train them in. It could be any odor. You bring the dog to that first end of the block the first time around, and you say to the dog, what's that? And as soon as you say to your dog, what's that? If he's in the house sitting down, he gets up, he spins around, he's looking everywhere, he wants to know what's going on. So if you point down and say, what's that? And he puts his nose on it, as soon as you see that dog get the odor from that first contaminated block, you report him with a reward. That pro dummy, it's the pro dummy, he gets the play. We do that about 25 times the first day. And then he begins to associate that odor with play. In some cases, the odor is associated with food. If your dog's hungry, you show him the contaminated odor, okay, you get a biscuit. Whoa! Every time I smell that odor, I get a biscuit. But I gotta sit first. So now you teach the dog, when he smells that odor, they sit, and they'll be rewarded with a biscuit. Then as time goes on, we start to play the shell game. We move the clean blocks ahead of the dirty blocks. Can we get that for you? Right. Oh, I'm sorry, you wanted it full. So what we do is, we move the blocks around and we play the shell game with them. We take them by the first one, say, what's that? You keep moving them, keep moving them. Then when they get to the odor, you keep moving them, but then they go, oh, I get my cookie for being here. So they stop. So we do that, and that's called scent imprinting. Do that for the first 3, 4, 5 days. Get the dog imprinted with the odor, and then that's all they want to do. Go find that odor. So as time goes on through the training, we do some tracking. Tracking's important to us because we not only find bad people, but we find good people who've gone out and gotten lost. They'll sometimes track, they'll sometimes scout. Scouting would be done in such a way that we would find a wind coming at us in the area to search. We'll alert the dog to find human odor. The dog will pass back and forth, narrowing the smell down to the human odor. And as they form that scent cone, they'll usually find who we're looking for if they're in that area. Because when you're lost, you sweat a lot, you breathe heavier, you give off a lot more odor. Now, for lost people, we talk to the dog and say, come on, let's go find the kids, want to play? Where are they? Because when they find you, we want them to lick your face and look for the toy. Now, there's other times when we do searches for people who have done bad things. We don't necessarily want them to lick their face and look for the toy. So you talk to them a little differently and you go, where's that bad guy? Where's that person? Your voice inflection changes. That electrical noise that goes up and down the leash, they know that it's the positive, they know what's going on. Behavior changes. Now when they find something, probably run. So they'll grasp onto that person and make a canine apprehension. Now because they don't have thumbs on their paws, they can't really hold things like we do. So over the years, we found that if they use their jaws, they kind of act like our hands. So we take their jaws and we train them to hold on to somebody for us till we come along and finish the process of arresting them. So you're going to see Max hold on to Trooper Silver using his jaws because he can't use his paws. Now you can see how nice those jaws work, and you can see how bad his paws work. Because he can run, they have a powerful jaw, they have the ability for us to hold on to somebody while we come down and complete the apprehension.
Stop fighting the dog, I'll take him off you. Stop fighting. I give up. I give up.
Or, now, as you can see, that's kind of like a binky for the dog. You think you can get your binky away from your kid that Tolerance that goes on once they make an apprehension. Sometimes the canine officer is the only one there. But you can see that this is a lot of fun for the dogs. Everything we do in our training with dogs is very much playtime for them. It's not stressful, it's play. The only stress they have sometimes is when you take it away from them and you're keeping it away from them. They make it stay. But other than that, everything we do with us,
Is that the thing on the time?
they get cookies, they get to chase a ball, they get to chase people, they go for rides. Some of these dogs got more miles on them than you can see the dogs vary from anywhere from 75 to 10 pounds.
Oh, he's already been.
So that's a protective sleeve.
Connor's going. Come on,
The protection is okay. You still feel it. You feel the pressure.
Thank you for the chair.
You sometimes feel the teeth. And then you let them win. Because that's the natural abilities in dogs. That's the prey drive, where once they catch what they have, they want to run off with it, and they just want to hold it, and if they had a pack, they'd share it with them. So we take all of the natural abilities of these dogs and put them to use for us by using their nose, their ears, their ability to run faster than humans, and their ability to hunt. Now with their ears, everybody thinks dogs can hear so much better than us. Well, they can in a way. They can't hear further away, but they can hear higher and lower pitches than we can hear. But it doesn't mean they can hear a mile away and we can only hear a half mile. It's their pitch. Higher and lower is different from what we can actually receive. So with that, when we're in the woods doing a surge or a track, we may not hear a twig snap, but the dog will. And it's very important for us to follow the dog when we're tracking so that we can see the behavioral changes that the dog has to offer. The dog's ears will go up, if they hear something. Their behavior will change if they smell something. Their tail will go up. They get focused on something. There are times when we found where people have been laying down for some time until they hear us coming and they get on the move again. And when the dog gets to that spot, the dog's circling as if the person is right there. And then they break out of that circle and they're hot on the trail again because they've left scent as they left again. And they're very close to that person and normally will find them. As a handler, as you go through the training of kindergarten, the high school stuff, you can actually see your behavioral changes in your dog. What they do when their ears are up, When the tail's curled, tail's straight out, the tail's down. If they whimper, if they growl, all the things that the dog does, it runs back up the leash. And what we don't realize is that everything we do on the other end of the leash runs down the leash. So they get to know us. And voice inflection is key. Like I said, when it's the fun, friendly, go find the kids. Where's the kids? Where's the ball? Let's go find them. But when it's the search where the dog has to be on guard for his own protection because somebody might fight him back because we're dealing with somebody that's violent or dangerous, your voice inflection changes. Come on, go find a bad guy. Let's go. Work. Get on it. Find him. So things change. And the dog knows that change because he learns it during all of the weeks of training. The weeks of training go from serious handler of getting another dog. Being about 10 or 20 weeks. You can see the dog is perched. His complete body is about 1.5 inches, 2 inches off the ground. He's ready to pounce. He understands the game. Not only do we train with a sleeve, because the arms are what creates the violence. A lot of times people want to fight, they use their arms, or if they have a weapon. Dogs have a tendency to focus on the arms. However, we have full suits where the dog will make contact in the legs, the upper body. And see how focused he is? He's in that mode. Prey drive, pounce. That's why bonding and obedience is so important for the training of dogs. Here! Now! Right, sit your kid in front of a water slide on a hot day and say, "Oh, come on!" They're right at the edge of the water. Think you're coming back, and you're going to go up the water.
I know, it's just nerve-wracking. Like he's gonna...
Now there's some 500 pounds of pressure that come from that dog to hold on to somebody. So even if somebody does have a weapon, there's so much pressure on that hold. That they get weakened at the knees because of the pressure. And it's difficult to fight back. Good boy. Good boy. So that's a little bit about what all our dogs do. I'm glad you folks came out for National Night Out. It's an important night around the country. It all started many, many years ago with light on in your neighborhood to light the neighborhood so that bad people couldn't come along and just try to take things or do something wrong. And it's morphed into something where neighborhoods get together, people see each other, they come out, they get to see what their town can do for them, to protect them, to make their lives safer, both in law enforcement, in fire, and some of the services that they can provide to you while your life in that community. So it's a great program, tell your friends about it, double the size of folks here next year, maybe even triple it. Because you learn a lot, the more you speak out your law enforcement and public safety, the more they can service the areas and the problems that you folks have. So I want to thank you for letting us take a little bit of your time. I hope I did a lot of education here. Just always remember, if you get lost as a kid, somebody knows you're lost, stay where you are, get under a pine tree where it's warm or where it's cool, depending on the day. It'll be dry under a pine tree. If you hear somebody calling out your name, it's because we know you're lost. Come out. We will give you Jell-O. We will ride you to the hospital. We'll give you ice cream. If your parents find you, they will give you grief. Because they're so scared. And they're not angry at you, okay? Because they're out looking for you. They fear what could happen to you. So the best thing is, come on out. We'll get you home. We'll get you ice cream. We'll take care of all your little bug bites. We'll have a clap. Tell them stories. What we do after the first thing they say is, I want to kill you! But they don't mean it. Get lost under a pine tree, here on the ground, I am right here. All right, thanks again.
I am. Spin the wheel. Huh. People win prizes? Wow. Ow.
It was me.
Oh.
It was somebody else.
That's all right. No, I would say if I wasn't in the wrong test, that would be I'd have bombed it down and I would have fun.
Yeah, read about it and then come back and sign up. If you'd like to make donations, you got the donation.
So I was up
here, take one of those.
Right now, my house is full of boxes from there. And Devon, we got a whole yard is full of trailers and tractors. It's all right. I'll be there in the week. Right? Same thing.
And I have ice cream too.
Me too.
I have ice cream at Nana's.
Really? Nana's are great for that, aren't they? Yeah, I love Nana's.
Every day I eat.
Really?
Yeah.
You got the best in the world.
Yeah.
Is Irene coming tonight?
No, just
No.
me tonight. She's got a couple meetings tonight.
You say bye?
Bye, Elizabeth. Give me a high five. See you soon, okay?
Yeah.
Bye.